Sasquatch Wizard Adirondacks. So this is the tree that was across the trail that I discovered last night. I've been here for a strong hour, taking measurements, looking at this thing from every angle, trying to make a good reason why this is just a natural occurrence. I brushed all the leaves off in and around the area, checking for deep impressions in the ground that would resemble a Sasquatch. I found none. I stepped back and thought, well, you're digging around in the ground like it was you, 3 feet apart, 8-foot Sasquatch, probably 6-7 feet apart, so I dug further. Still no impressions. This is our tree. It's 8 inches at the base. At the top where it broke, it's 6 inches. The outer rim of this tree, soft. You work your way into the inside. It's got a 2-inch core, solid as a rock. These are yellow birch saplings. This one's 2.5 inches. That one's 2 1/4. The yellow birch is 26 feet from base to the tip of the tree. It obviously was right there. This one's 2 1/4, and it's 19 feet. Ends over there, it's kind of scraggly. And it too would have been, obviously. I don't know if they were bent over or not to start with. So that is the alignment that would have needed this 8-inch spruce tree to snap. There's the 2 1/4, and right down in there is the 2.5 inch yellow birch saplings for this tree to have snapped, came down, landed atop those 2 trees, the weight then bending them down, and the whole works across the trail. Alright, let's do the rest. I've taken measurements at the broken end of every piece of tree here and tried to match up the broken pieces. The end of our main tree, which is 21 feet long from where it snapped off to where it broke off the top, 21 feet. It's 3¼ inches thick. This top, this closest one here, is the match. That also is 3¼ inches at the end of it. How the bark broke around the outside of that tree most resembles in the fact that those two widths are the only two widths that are 3¼ . So where'd this come from? Right here. Another complete top to a tree. Same kind of tree. Well, here's as close as I can get to this being a match. But I'm stuck on one thing. I'm missing a piece of tree. And I cannot find any chunk of it anywhere. This tree right here is 3/4 inch bigger at this end than this right here. The wood, if you look at it, the way it grew, there must have been a branch or something where rain started getting down inside of here, and the grain of the wood wraps around the scarring, and then the grain twists as it comes up. You can see it. Okay, that does not match any end to any of these trees. Right. But if it did, then I would project that that part of this tree may have snapped off from there because this top right here does match for width the end of this tree, but the break doesn't match completely. Okay, so you can tell that you have a pretty solid sorry, it's hard to hold all this. Pretty solid inner core, real soft outside. You have this long chunk that was taken out of here, and you know, the tree is mostly intact all the way up to the break here. This big chunk right here, shit, this big chunk right here is not what this tree looks like. There's the end of that. See how the bark is all the way down to the break? There's that long missing chunk of wood on this other piece down there. This just does not match up, but the widths of the end of this and the end of that certainly do match. Now, this chunk of wood right here is busted off this maple. It's leaning up in that spruce tree. Or fir, I'm sorry, not the fir. That chunk of maple is exactly 16 feet, no, exactly 16 feet from the tip to the base. This chunk is 32 inches, so for all intents and purposes, let's say 19 feet. It came down, hit, or stuck in the mud, broke, probably stuck in the mud there. The weight of the fall snaps up here, and the other butt end of it skips over the log and hits the ground there. So where'd it come from? I was walking around checking the entire perimeter, and I saw this maple stick on the ground right here. Whoa. Right here. It's freshly broke. Leaves are just starting to wilt, and it sat right here, not but 10 feet away from this whole entourage of trees across the trail. So I started looking to see where did it come from, and let me take you over here. I'm gonna point this camera straight up in the sky. And voila. That, I zoomed in with my 40 optical, and the same tree fungus and lichen is at that portion of break, which it's the same type of tree, the same bark, lichen, and fungus that's on the tree. It appears, even though it's leaning back towards me the wrong way, it appears that that snapped off from up there and fell this way, struck this maple right here, struck that maple and snapped that branch off, that's on the ground. Right there. And the rest of that tree lands over here. 23 feet away. Okay. See the top of that maple? Rinky dink, 1.5 inches at the top. That thing's deader than a stick. I picked it up. It doesn't even weigh a lot. I can pick it up with one hand. And, you know, it's not overly heavy. If that tree snapped 23 feet away, and the fact that it is prominently leaning that way, I mean, if you were here on site, you can tell right now with the other trees that are growing vertical that that tree, where it snapped off, is leaning out this way heavily. That branch breaking and coming back over this way 26 feet and landing with the butt end over here because it hit one little 3/4 inch maple branch on the way down wouldn't sling this entire tree over here to land butt end in the trail. I'm primarily where I was last night with this. This tree is snapped off at exactly 8 feet. It's 6 inches where it snapped off. Whole works blocking the trail. Well, that's my follow-up with this. I'm not gonna say that it's one or the other. This goes in the record books. Thank you for joining me. We'll bring you in when anything else important happens. Have a nice day.